Guys, today modern AI is quite advanced, except two problems. It is censored and it takes your information. Well, it's hard to find a tech company that don't, but let me introduce you to one. Shout out to my sponsor, Venice AI, which allows you to protect your information and avoid censorship. Now ask yourself, why should a team of programmers at these leading AI apps be the ones to decide what is okay for you to ask and think? Also, would you be comfortable if the presidential administration could govern what AI tells you? Man, I know I wouldn't. But also, while you think about that, did you know that? Let me tell you this, it's gonna be crazy, but ChatGPT has a former director of the NSA sitting on their board right now, guys. And shout out to that man, Edward Snowden. He called this a willful, calculated betrayal of the rights of every person on Earth. And we all know how Alexa is. Alexa listens to us and recommends products based on our conversations. I mean, talk about a violation of privacy. But guys, these are just a few reasons I decided to team up with Venice AI and get you a better options or solutions to your AI needs. Now, guys, you can go ahead and check these guys out with my promo code. So shout out to Venice AI. Now, if you want to use AI without fear of handing over your most intimate thoughts to a corporation or government, you can get 20% off a pro plan using my link, Venice AI SET, and use the code SET. Man, so shout out, guys. So make sure you guys use the code. Put it one more time for you guys right there. Once again, guys, you guys want to go ahead and have unleashed AI, uncensored AI, go ahead and tap in with my guys at Venice AI, guys. Hey, this is SET and appreciate the support. And shout out to the sponsor. And all right, guys, we are back with a new format. All right, guys, let's get right into it, man. We got a lot to go over on this segment of the show because you seen the title. Did Pam Bondi hide the list for Epstein? Well, did Pam Bondi stuff the Epstein list for Trump? All right, guys, let's get right into it with Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones.
That will ride for and defend everything and find excuses and apologism. They cannot stand by somebody saying, let's just not talk about Epstein. There's nothing there. Case closed. And so I think they're blackmailing him. I think they have something on him, potentially, probably. On some level, though, it is all speculative. We don't know. We can't know precisely what's going on. Suffice to say, we know they're lying. And we know they're lying. We know Jeffrey Epstein is intelligence. That's factual. They knew that in 2008. They know that now. It's just obvious. The conspicuousness of how he raised his fortune, the people that he rolled with, the sex trafficking, the surveillance. It's so painfully obvious. He was intelligence. He was running a blackmail ring. We know that too. We also know if he's sex trafficking, if there's a...
Even in the release of the Epstein file, the phase 1, they even said that, yes, Epstein is part of a, redacted. Yeah, so they redacted the name of the intelligence agency he worked for in the first Epstein files of the first phase that they released. So to sit there and say that this man had no connections, there was nothing going on with this man is an absolute lie. That's honestly confirmed by what Pam Bondi released. Ain't that crazy? All right, let's keep it going.
Blackmail ring, and it's for intelligence. Then we necessarily know that there must be clients. How can you be a sex trafficker without clients? Who are you trafficking the sex for then? It just doesn't even make any sense. And he got charged with this not once, but twice. So everybody knows for a fact. These are the facts about the Epstein case. And we all witnessed Pam Bondi come out in this memo yesterday and deny all of it and say, it's like you said on Twitter, which was genius. What are they going to say next? Jeffrey Epstein never existed? Epstein wasn't real? I mean, they're literally telling us, don't believe your lying eyes. It's not real. And this is one of those mask off moments where you have to choose. Are you going to support Trump or deny reality? Are you going to support Trump or side with the most disgusting pervert who's like at the epicenter of political corruption in America? This is minors being trafficked for sex, for blackmail. So a foreign government can influence our politicians. It's the sickest, dirtiest business, the sickest, dirtiest corruption, and Trump is burying it. If we know that Epstein is involved with Israeli intelligence, obviously we've been over some of the facts already today. And if you know that Epstein had this thick Rolodex of royal family members, Wall Street, Hollywood people, members of the government, if you know that he was convicted of sex trafficking, procuring minors for the purpose of sex trafficking, that he had cameras and microphones all over his apartment for the purpose of filming the sex with minors and, you know, the people that were on his flight logs and these powerful people he was hanging out with, you know that this was blackmail. This is acquiring sexual dirt on powerful people for the purpose of controlling them. But once you begin to understand the true nature of it, you really understand what's going on here. A lot of people say these things like, Epstein didn't kill himself. Of course, people reject the pronouncement now by the Department of Justice that there is no client list, that there is no blackmail ring, there is no sex trafficking or anything like that. The case is closed. You have to ask the question, if that's what was happening, who was it for? Someone put him up to this. How did he have access to the Capitol? How did he have access to the $1 billion, to the celebrities, to the government ministers, and so on? Well, we also touched on that. He was involved with Les Wexner, the Jewish billionaire from Ohio, from the mega group. Yep. He ran in a circle of dozens.
You know, I mean, Lex Wexner, yeah, billionaire from Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, well, New Albany, about 40 minutes out of Columbus. He pretty much owns L brands like Bath and Body Works, I mean, Victoria's Secret, all that good stuff. And he also owns a manufacturing he also owns a manufacturing company. What was it? KDC as well. I mean, trust me, he's I can say he is probably the richest guy in Columbus due to all the business that he owned and all the manufacturing factories that he owned as well. Yeah, richest guy in Ohio.
Since arguably over 100 Jewish billionaires, people that support pro-Jewish causes like Jewish education, Jewish activism, and pro-Israel causes, then it's safe to assume, also given his main accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, her father was working for the Mossad, he's in bed with Israeli intelligence. Okay, so he's running a blackmail ring for an intelligence agency, most likely an Israeli intelligence agency. Well, what's the purpose of running the blackmail ring for the Israeli intelligence agency? Well, obviously, we have to then figure out, what does Israel want? The entire purpose of the blackmail ring is to have dirt on American politicians, celebrities, financiers, so that Israel can control them. For what purpose? Well, let's just use our imaginations. What has Israel wanted for the past 25 years? What have they been talking about at the United Nations General Assembly? What have they been saying in congressional testimony, in American media like Fox News and elsewhere, joint sessions of Congress and major addresses? They've been saying for 25 years, and even longer, actually, we want regime change in Iran.
Yeah, and that's actually true. Like, they've been saying it ever since the whole clean break, where the clean break was the breakaway plan to actually have peace in the Middle East and actually have a two-state solution with Palestine. And they say, you know what, if we can just destabilize every Muslim country around us so nobody can stand up to us, we can just go ahead and take Palestine. And they, they damn near got it done, to be quite honest with you. But you know what? Let's hear what the most toxic man on the internet has to say about this. And shout out Andrew Tate, because he had something interesting to say as well.
Epstein died by suicide.
Yeah, died by suicide.
It's interesting. Yeah, right. They write about us every single day for 2 years. And we've done nothing wrong. This guy, the number one guy in the world who's bribing politicians and blackmailing everybody, his documents are released. And 3 days later, no one talks about it anymore. The MSM isn't interested. No one cares. Who cares? Who cares? They've all been sitting around with little girls jerking off. And nobody seems to care about it. It's insane. All these documents released. Everyone said, when the Epstein documents come out, the world's going to change.
Yeah, it didn't, though, did it?
However, You're numb. You're numb. You're numb to the bad news. You need to understand all the crazy things that have happened this year. Be perspicacious enough to understand and look at yourself in your own eyes and self-analyze and say, yes, I've become numb. I've become numb to the insanity. All these crazy things happen around me. All this madness. I'm living in a year of chaos. I don't even give a fuck. I just sit around at home, jerking off, playing video games, having a coffee, do-do-do-do-do. You know what? Oh, the world's collapsing. Oh, World War III. Oh, well, you've become numb. Your dopamine receptors are fried. And that's fine because it's a survival mechanism. You're doing that so you don't panic. But instead, what you need to do is understand the scenario you're actually in and allow your dopamine receptors to receive the insanity that's going on in the world around you so you can take that panic and channel it into fucking money making on keto.
Of course. Now, you know what? I do like what Tate says, this type of stuff, because it reminds you that, you know, in times like these, in crazy times like these, there's definitely a good amount of time. There's definitely some time to make some money, even with the economic uncertainty. Well, a lot of people made money off uncertainty. So let's keep it real. But all right, guys, back to Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones.
Disaster. And I said this on my show last night. This is actually the opposite of what they promised they would do. This is actually worse than what was done under Biden or under the previous Trump administration, because this is an active cover-up. They're burying the story. And it would be one thing, I think people might have this expectation if they indefinitely put this off, they just never addressed it again. They never did a phase 2 reveal. Maybe they left it open to interpretation. But now they're coming out and they're effectively lying about it. And they're denying all the critical aspects of the story, even the ones that we know are true. They came out yesterday, and not only did they say there'd be no phase 2 revelations after the embarrassing debacle with the binders earlier in the year, but they're saying there is no client list at all. And as a matter of fact, Jeffrey Epstein wasn't even involved in blackmail. We know that's not true. His entire apartment and the island and all his residences were loaded up with cameras, with microphones. We've seen the photos of the videotape recording equipment, the boxes of tapes. We have the testimony from his accusers, the various people he sex trafficked. They all testified he recorded all this stuff. What would be the purpose of it other than blackmail? He got charged not once but twice in the mid-2000s and then again in the late 2010s for procuring minors for the purpose of sex trafficking and sex trafficking. So he's finding minors, trafficking them for sex, recording the sexual encounters at his residences with powerful people that are on the private jet, they're on the island, they're on the residence, and they're telling us, even though there's sex trafficking, there's no clients. Even though there's powerful people on the flight logs, there's no client list. Even though he's a sex trafficker, it wasn't a blackmail ring. This is stuff that we know is not true. And I don't think I'm the only one to point out the timing is a little bit conspicuous. Of course, Jeffrey Epstein, his main accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, is the daughter of Mossad super spy Robert Maxwell.
And here's the thing, though. If Ghislaine Maxwell is supposed to be his right-hand gal, right? So if there's no human trafficking, no client lists, anything like that, then what the hell is she in jail for? Like, no. Why is she in jail? Because that doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like, what is she doing in jail if Epstein is completely innocent? And let's be real, one of the main reasons she got caught up in those trials is because of her work with Epstein. So, yeah. So what? Is it free Ghislaine Maxwell now? Like, what are we doing?
Maxwell. He was close with Les Wexner, the Jewish billionaire who's in the Mega Group, which is a mega large group of Jewish pro-Israel billionaires.
Don't forget the Israeli prime minister caught over and over again with Epstein at his dungeon.
Exactly. And the connections are deep and vast. And this story was buried the day before Netanyahu's third visit to the White House on 7/7, July 7th. I just don't believe in coincidences like this. And so it's clearly a cover-up. And that clip that you just showed of Trump in the cabinet meeting, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's shocking. Every Trump supporter should feel humiliated at this point. And it's like you said, I don't take any pleasure in this. Well, I feel a little bit vindicated about it.
I don't know about humiliated. I feel let down, but you got to understand, I don't have full trust in anybody. I mean, like Trump say, I don't got full trust in nothing. So let's be real. I didn't have full trust in this whole, them releasing the Epstein files, because once they start saying that, there's a hype. I mean, they got all of Wall Street, damn near all of Washington, some high up prominent fingers are on there. This could collapse the market and all this wild stuff like that. I'm like, oh yeah, I did forget. There are some important CEOs that have to get removed from certain companies because they're on the Epstein list. I mean, bro, that could crash the market. I mean, God damn it, he's a pedophile, but he's a damn good CEO. Like, it could be like that.
I want Trump to succeed. I want these disclosures to happen. And what's interesting is that Trump typically is a master of these types of media spin. He's usually very adept and very quick on his feet and the master of rhetoric. And this is maybe the first time when there's such a disconnect between what the base is feeling and what's going to play well in the media and what he's saying. In his mind, maybe he thought this was like a really persuasive angle to say, why are we talking about this? There's bigger issues to talk about. Such a completely tone deaf and bizarre. I said on Twitter, okay, poker face. I mean, as if we don't know what's going on here. So it's honestly, it stinks. This is maybe the most embarrassing thing yet so far in the Trump administration in the second term. And you got to wonder, what is going through his head? What are his advisors telling him? Is it that he's so cloistered on True Social in an echo chamber that this is just the pinnacle of exuberance? Is this like a God complex type hubris where he really thinks anything goes now? He can get away with anything? I'm really just not sure what the mindset is here, but it just seems like one thing after the next. You know, we just got done with the Iran war controversy. I came on today to talk about immigration, which, you know, and we maybe have a disagreement, but the base is outraged about this, only to get caught up in now the latest, newest scandal, a new controversy about something that should have been a grand slam, release the documents. And now he's actually not only not releasing.
Hold on. Mary former Israeli Prime Minister Ed Barak is seen hiding his face entering Jeffrey Epstein's New York City townhouse as BV. Oh, wow. All right. As bevy of young beauties were also spotted going in, despite his claims he never socialized with the pedophile and his girls. I mean, we all knew Jeffrey Epstein has some high up connections. And this is the thing, is like, bro, you got prime ministers walking into your crib. What do you what do you mean the man wasn't well connected? The bro was taking pictures with Trump, Clinton's, and other high-up political figures and entertainment. What do you mean this guy had no connections? There's no client list. All right, keep lying.
Them, but actually burying the story and doing this bizarre spin, running cover for it, saying no one should even be talking about it. The guy's a creep, standing on the graves of the people dead in Texas. This is some golden age. This is some start to the second term. I hate it. And I, like you, I mean, look, I don't say these things because I'm rooting for his downfall. I'm in no way, shape, or form in any way taking any kind of pleasure in Trump crashing and burning like this. I want him to succeed. I want the country to succeed. Like you, I was a major Trump supporter in 2016 and 2020. I had high hopes. I have an authentic belief in him and in this entire movement, in MAGA, in America First. But we have to call a spade a spade. We have to be sober. We have to be objective. We have to be in reality. It's like you said, this is just indefensible. And so I, like many other people, some who supported Trump in this cycle, many who didn't, I'm sitting here asking, what exactly is going on in this administration? It's a complete disaster. So I hope they reverse course on this. I have no confidence that they will. And I, like you, believe that clearly there's some sort of deal that's going on. And it's hard to say, do they have something?
Oh, guys, let's make sure to not double tap the screen, actually. This is hit the like button. Look, guys, let's make sure to hit the like button on the video. Appreciate the support. Let's get some more people in here.
Over his head? Does he have something over their head? Of course, it's all speculative. We can't know for sure.
Nick,
all we can do is...
You're on fire right now, and I wasn't going to interrupt you, but your camera's been out of focus for about 5 minutes. So I want to be able to go back to you, and I want you to stop where you are right there. No, it's okay. I want you to stop right there because I want to get into the big question. What type of deal has been made? I think it's overwhelmingly clear it has happened. Again, listeners were like, no, it's not Trump yesterday. It's Bondi. She messed up. No, it's Trump. We're not here to BS people. And
I do got to give it to Alex on this one. It is his cabinet. He did pick these people. And even if these people are hiding the truth from Trump, it would still be his fault just by, default. All right.
We've got to get a course correction here. And, obviously I'm going to support Trump on the good things. I'm not going to support, him on the bad things. We're not like the Democrat Party cult that will go along with whatever their leaders do and say Joe Biden's the smartest man in the world and the smartest he's ever been. And this new Joe Biden's the best Joe Biden. And we're not going to say two men can have a baby. I mean, if Trump came out and said that, I'd say he's crazy. Okay. So this is kind of approaching that level of gaslighting here. And it's obviously no one's buying it regardless. And so we have to then logically say, why has this been done? But again, look at Bondi saying, oh, I meant this, I meant that. No, she was very clear in undercover videos and in press conferences months and months and months ago that no, we've got hundreds of new victims and kids getting raped and Epstein doing it, on and on and on. And now they try this massive spin. And then the Democrats are going to come in on this, even though they're all implicated. And this is going to be the big scandal. And so, and I said yesterday, Trump better say, oh, no, keep an investigation going. Because obviously, if they really wanted to cover it up, then they would just say, oh, it's an endless investigation forever, and it would just go away. This was hole-in-one, Tiger Woods level skill at blowing your own feet off. I mean, this is a perfect 100. If you wanted to take all this success and all of the incredible things that are happening and flush it down the toilet, burn it up, throw it in the garbage. Here's a clip of Pam Bondi, and we'll go back to Nick Fuentes.
Yesterday that all the Epstein files are missing. Can you confirm that? They still haven't heard from you.
No, the FBI, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement, but I'll call him later and find out.
Martin seems to be facing a very tough.
And it goes on and on. So, Nick, you're back. Start over, and then let's get to the big central issue, wargaming. And some listeners don't understand this. So some people on next confused. They go, well, wait, if it's blackmail info, how would Trump now be in control of the blackmail info to control the deep state? Because the deep state globalists, Brennan, Obama, we know who was running the Clintons, were using that to control politicians, scientists, bankers. So now if Trump gets that file, kind of like when J. Edgar Hoover died, and then Nixon got the file, that's the whole point. And so people need to understand how this works. And clearly the question would always be, will Trump use the Epstein files, if they weren't all destroyed, which we know they got a bunch of them, to then blackmail the deep state, or would he bring them all down with it? And now I think we've got the answer of where it's going. Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, there's also something clear, which is I think Trump is worried about what's in the files. And we have some evidence about that. And I've seen your analysis on this, and I agree in some sense that if there was anything that would indict Trump inside the files, obviously the Democrats would be all over that. Obviously, the Biden administration and their DOJ was in control of that information. If there was anything that they could use to charge him or anything embarrassing, probably they would have leaked out to the press. It would have went to Congress. They would have filed charges. That would have been the surest way to bring him down, destroy his credibility. So I totally understand that argument. At the same time, there is a lot of troubling evidence surrounding the topic. First of all, you have Jeffrey Epstein testimony from 15 years ago where he claimed, and he could be lying, it's certainly possible that he's exaggerating this or even making it up, but he said that he was close friends with Donald Trump. We have that on tape. That's on the record. It's sworn testimony. He said that he was friends with Donald Trump. This is before he died. It was before even he got charged a second time. We also have a very strange interview from last year during the election where he's asked by a reporter about the declassification of all these topics. They say, are you going to declassify 9/11? He goes, yes. Are you going to declassify JFK? He says, absolutely. Are you going to declassify Jeffrey Epstein? He goes, yes. And then very quickly he says, well, maybe. He goes, because there's some people that might be named in it and it might ruin their lives, and I'm not so sure. And that always struck me as very bizarre. And obviously, I mean, you can draw a conclusion from that, which is he is worried that he's named in it. And even if it doesn't indict him, even if it's not something criminal in nature, or he's not indicted in the sex trafficking or anything bad, his name being present in the documents at all would be a big problem for him in terms of PR. Clearly, that was his concern. That's probably why I answered the question that way. Then, of course, a week before the strikes in Iran, Elon Musk famously says on Twitter, the reason you don't have the files is because Trump is in them. Today, Musk is saying that Bannon is in the files. Now, once again, this is one person's word against another's. This is Elon Musk. And he's got a reason to play into that. He's got a rivalry now with the president. He was exiled from the White House, wasn't able to achieve his policy priorities, which is cutting the deficit. He's got a major bone to pick with Steve Bannon. So it makes sense why he'd say something.
Because Steve Bannon was the one telling the story of pretty much saying that Elon was trying to get into it with Scott Besson, and Elon got his ass whooped. And I was like, damn, all right then. I'm pretty sure Elon heard Bannon say that story and he didn't like it too much. So, yeah, apparently there was some tension between Scott Besson and Elon. But all right, now let's go ahead and get into this last part of the video with our guy Ryan Dawson, probably one of the most banned guys I talked to. But his investigation on the Epstein files, though, hey man, chef's kiss. You got to give it to the man. All right.
Actual Epstein files. They're not interested.
And there's our model for this month. Look at the drop of video on Elon, Iran, and everything that's in the title as promised. So the Justice Department, these people, you know, they promised, oh, look, it's on my desk. We have all these tapes.
No, the FBI, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement.
Blah, blah, blah. I was just in a space with Live or something like that. And I'm like, you're not going to get anything from these people. She's like, oh, yeah, they're looking at it. They're reviewing all the QAnon excuses and stuff. Now they're saying he killed himself. And what tapes, what clients, what blackmail, that's all gone, right? In other news, the USS Liberty hit an iceberg. Nord Stream pipeline was spontaneous combustion. Gaza, that was just a giant earthquake. Hospitals are a threat to Israeli security. JFK shot himself, like whatever. Like this is on that level is stupid. Epstein was murdered. He was part of a blackmail ring. He was working for the Israelis. God damn. Ari Ben Menashe, who was of Israeli intelligence, said that Maxwell and Epstein worked for Israeli intelligence. And it was financed by Les Wexner. That was his premier backbone, is people like Wexner and Leon Black. He was on the board of trustees for the Wexner Foundation, which was set up with the very first president, Rabbi Herbert Friedman, working for the Sonborn Institute, which included people like, I don't know, the first prime minister of Israel, David Ben-Gurion, and the entire Jewish agency, Ted Kulik and the rest of them. It's all mapped up on that wall, by the way. That's who stole highly enriched uranium so that Israel could illegally make the bomb. This is before the French got involved. The U.S., through Zalman Shapiro and others out of Apollo, Pennsylvania, was providing the material needed for Israel's bombs, which they almost sold to South Africa. They only didn't because they couldn't agree on the price. They almost had more nuclear. And they're the only...
I mean, and the man made a whole documentary called Numek, and I believe he called it Numek because it was a facility in Pennsylvania where the Israelis stole the bomb from. They later denied it. BS JFK about it. JFK wanted to investigate it, and then somehow, some way, he ends up dead. You know, somehow, some way.
Ones not signed on to NPT. Maybe Iran isn't anymore, but it's because you bombed them, and then the U.S. bombed them. Why should they listen to you? Stellar interview Tucker just did with the Iranian president, by the way. But I'm going to be talking about Epstein with Jeff and Scott, not my brothers, the other ones, Scott Ritter and Jeff Norman soon on Thursday. So I'm going to have a mouthful on this. You guys have heard it. I'm like, oh, you want a list? The hell with that white binder. Get this black notebook. This is the Epstein client list. And this is not just some lazy copy of flight logs or the black book. This is a client list. Being on an airplane is a data point. That's not enough. Being in a picture with somebody, not enough. Internal emails between yourself and Jeffrey Epstein bragging about what you did. Yeah, that'll do it.
Yo.
You think they paid $350 million out in settlements to victims?
No reason.
Traffic. And
that's also a good point. It's like, so, well, hold on. Y'all was paying $290 million to Epstein victims who were never Epstein victims because, you know, he had no list. He wasn't even trafficking, man. He was just some pedo with a whole lot of child porn. So, yeah, it doesn't make sense because then what the hell are we doing this for? Why are we sending out millions of dollars to victims?
To nobody. the victims themselves are saying they were trafficked and tell you who they were trafficked to. And yet our government is saying there was no blackmail. There are no clients. There is no list. There is no anything. There is a list. It's pages upon pages. Verified. I have gone through each name. And this is the thing. I don't just have a list and a map. I can back it up and have backed it up. It's like, give me a name. I'll tell you why they're on the list and what they did. It takes like 9.5 hours. I actually did it with Sean Atwood one time. Not all at once. We did an hour and a half and then another hour and a half like that. It's like Andrew Tate said, most, not all, but most of these people are just drama farming. They don't actually care about the victims. They don't care about all those little girls who got raped and coerced. Young women too.
And I kind of agree with him on that. Like, I don't even think people truly care about the victims. It's like when I was debating that one guy on the Epstein, he kept on, oh no, Trump's on it, Trump's on it. I'm just like, bro, do you care about anything else? Like, you know, there are like billionaires probably living in your city that's on that list. Like, your politicians probably on that list. There are other people besides Trump that could possibly, that are, I want to say, that are on that list. And I'm not saying that Trump is on it. I'm just saying there are way other people that we could be focusing on, but we're just honing in on the household names. Like, do we honestly care, or do we just want to see our least favorite household name get taken down?
They just want celebrities. This list is mostly hedge fund managers and bankers and positions like that. Boring. Where's Tom Hanks and Leonardo DiCaprio and Cameron Diaz? Well, they ain't in it. Sorry, but like that's all they want. Same thing with Diddy. They just want to talk about celebrities having sex. They don't care that over a dozen billionaires are kitty fiddling and being rewarded with it. Mm-hmm. Some of the most prominent people you know. Bill Gates, for example. Presidents. 2 prime ministers. A prince. That's not enough because it's not Hollywood. And that's all they give a damn about.
Ain't that the truth?
And all they act like the flight logs. Nick Bryant did release some flight logs and a black book from Glenn Maxwell. That doesn't give you. That's just a whole bunch of names. Sergey Brin. I mean, people in those books are guilty. Some of the people in those books are not guilty. But we have dead right evidence. We have testimony from Epstein's employees, from the victims themselves, and from Denise George's lawsuit. We did get hold of some of the internal emails between Epstein and his clients. And we even have a goddamn massage appointment book, thanks Sarah Kellen, with all the who's who in there who are getting massages. Oh, shit. And don't give me this Dershowitz crap of, I kept my underwear on. I kept my underwear on. Whoa. Sick freak. His story changed 3 times. It was a massage with his underwear on, and then it was just a back and neck massage, and then it changed locations. Like, well, I didn't get any massages in Florida. I mean, well, that's not what you were asked. You were asked about what you did in Ohio. He's very clever with his words, very loyal.
You know, it's so funny though. Can you imagine? Now, imagine this scenario, which I hope that you're never in, but imagine you get caught like cheating on your wife or something, guys. And imagine if you hit her with the, nah, baby, don't worry. I kept my underwear on. Like, don't worry about it. I couldn't have done it. I kept my underwear on. I know I was in the room with her. I know I was damn near naked and I was in the same bed, but I kept my underwear on. Like,
lawyer-esque. Sitting duck slaps in a dead Hamilton and says, yeah, what 666% fishing said, I can't, I'm sorry. I just had surgery yesterday. I can't fucking read. Like, let me try to change shades.
But all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and end it out on that one, man. And yeah, I know, right? That was fun. But don't worry, though. I'm going to do another one. We're going to go back to how I used to do it back in the day. And I'm going to do this. Well, I'll tell you guys in Discord why I'm doing this. But, hey, I got to get back to the horizontal streams. And don't worry, though. My main thing will still be the verticals. Because, hey, I know this stuff is tough when you got to deal with these ads and all that good stuff. But all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and see you on the next one. I'll be right back with another video. Give me about 15 to 30 minutes. Appreciate the support, guys.